Cut your mics on. Good evening. I call to order the June meeting of the Florence City Planning Commission. And on behalf of the planning staff and our commissioners tonight, I want to thank all of y'all for being here tonight. What we do is the people's business, and when we get participants like you, it certainly gives us something to work for and put a face to the request, and I just thank y'all for coming out the way you did. We have a lengthy agenda. We did not meet last month, so we've got a lengthy agenda tonight. If your particular issue comes up and it's voted on, you're certainly welcome to get up at any time, quietly, please, and we will go through our agenda. Now, the commissioners are not going to have dinner tonight. We're going to be here all, no. But I am going to be pushing it through pretty quickly. So the first item on the agenda is the invocation, and Mr. Moses, would you do that for us, please?
As I always say, always remember, let's pray for one another because we don't know when it be our last time. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for this gathering here today to do the business of the city of Florence and the citizens of Florence. Lord, the commission's here. We're going to try to make the best decisions we can, but we are not perfect in it. Just look out for us, protect us in many ways. This all bless us in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Moses. Mr. Moses, you don't have a microphone, I don't believe. Do you? Oh, okay. Thank you. If y'all will stand with us, we'll give the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, as I mentioned, we did not have a meeting last month, so our approval of minutes will be from our April meeting. The commissioners have received their packet. They've had a chance to review the minutes from April. If there are no questions, changes, I would call for a motion, please.
Move we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve as submitted. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the like signs, and the ayes have it. Okay, the next item is PC 2025-21. Good evening.
Good evening.
Staff report, please.
This one will sound a little bit familiar. This is a request to annex and zone light industrial, a lot located on Jenny O'Brien Boulevard. It's a portion of county tax map number 00122010042. And this is the vicinity map of it. The parcel is actually 67 acres. The only part that is being annexed is the 7 acres on the north side of Jenny O'Brien, as indicated, right next to New Spring Church, on the way to the tennis center and the Florence Flamingos baseball field. The rest of it will remain in the county. They want to annex it and zone it light industrial, which it is on 2 sides of it, and so this is in keeping with the area, the immediate area. And the future land use map recommends the whole area being a general commercial, and this light industrial is more of a commercial, not so much a manufacturing. It's defined as uses that involve research and development, assembly, compounding, packaging, testing, or treatment, with limited outside storage and external impacts or risks, or wholesale uses or large items stored outside. So no heavy equipment, no heavy manufacturing, heavy polluters, nothing like that would go in there. So that concludes staff's report.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. Commissioners, do you have any questions of staff?
Remind me which land around this, we just did some action on this, correct?
Yes, the portion directly north of it was recently annexed and zoned the light industrial, and then the portion immediately to the east of it was also annexed, or it was already in the city limits. It was rezoned from general commercial to the light industrial, and I believe that was late '24.
Yeah. Any other questions, staff?
So, in other words, it would be surrounded by light industrial, pretty much.
That's right, yes. And the other uses around that portion of North Cashua, most of them are in the county, but most of them are in keeping with a light industrial type of use.
Any further questions? All right, with that said, I will open the public hearing portion of this, and I'd like to explain that to our audience tonight. Most of our items on our agenda, the staff will give the report, and then we'll open up a public hearing where a person or persons that are in favor of the request will get up, and you have to come to the podium and give us your name. And then I'll also ask for anyone that's against a specific request. And usually if it's a big crowd and there's a lot of people that want to talk, we're going to limit it to 2, maybe 3 people and maybe 2 minutes at a time. So with that said, I normally ask for the person making the request to come first, or anyone that is for this to come first. I think we have at least one member here that has requested this. And so in this case, I'm going to ask for anyone that is against this request to come forward, and then I'll give you a chance to address those that are for. So anybody against this request to zone light industrial, I'd like for you to come forward. No one has to. And seeing no one, if anyone would like to speak on behalf of this request, you're welcome to come forward. Thank you, sir. I believe we know your name, but please give it for the record.
Baron Irvin. I'm here on behalf of the owner. I was requesting the annexation and zoning. Just here to answer any questions that you might have.
Certainly. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Irvin? I think we went through most of this
Yeah.
exercise back in December and kind of got a good feel what's taking place, and the fact that it's surrounded by light industrial is
Right.
kind of an easy task for us tonight.
All right.
All right, thank you for coming forward. Anyone else like to speak on behalf? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and call for a motion.
Move we approve.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve as requested. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like signs nay, and the ayes have it. Thank you. All right, PC 2025-22.
All right,
Ms. Lane.
this one's a little bit different for us. There's a private road located behind the Target at 2791 David H. McLeod Boulevard and fronts a parcel identified as tax map number 0009901
Ms. Lane, can I interrupt you just a second? I forgot to mention that I have to recuse myself on this particular request. The road name is a client of mine, and so I will turn the chair over to Mr. Howard here on this particular issue. So forgive me for interrupting.
Ms. Lane.
Mr. Howard, this is the vicinity map showing, it's just a very short stretch. I'm sure anybody who goes to the mall can be familiar with it. It's off of Dunbarton Road. The only portion that is privately owned is between Dunbarton and the ring road around the Magnolia Mall. And so that is the part that would be named. The main reason for naming it would just be if there's any development in that portion, that parcel north of it, for EMS or emergency services, E911 services. The name options that have been proposed are Edbird Way, Edbird Lane, but there's already a Bird Lane, so we're discouraging that one, and then T. Edbird Lane. So I'm not sure. I think it was pointed out to me that by the applicant that Edbird Way was the preference. The T. Edbird Lane or T. Edbird Way? Okay, so that one's not on there. So
I filled out the application, that's why.
Yeah, I think we kind of came up with that one after we started comparing it to the other
Say, would you confirm that?
T. Edward Way.
That's on here.
Is that on here? Is that what you said?
And number 4. Page 11.
Yeah, number 4.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, is that it?
That concludes staff's report.
All right. Any questions of staff by the commissioner? Is there anyone here who opposes the naming of this road, T. Edward Way? Anyone here who is in favor or wants to speak on changing the name to T. Edward Way? Okay, then we will close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
There's a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman, back to you.
That was pretty quick, thank you. Okay, PC 2025-23. I think that's what many of you are here for tonight. So, Ms. Lane, if you would
All right.
give staff report.
This is a request to annex and zone NC 15, 2 parcels located at 922 and 926 Third Loop Road, County Tax Map Number 0151101-037 and 038. The zoning was originally erroneously advertised and put on the signs as NC 6.1, but the applicant has clarified that they actually want NC 15. And that's an important distinction because NC 15 only allows 15,000 square foot parcels. The intent is to leave the parcels as they are and just put a single family house on each one, so just be 2 houses. It's here on Third Loop at the intersection with South Hallmark Drive, and this is the up close. They're 2 vacant lots. They just wanted to develop a single family house on each one. So the zoning, it's a planned development across the street with small parcels, but also single family. And the future land use map around it calls for suburban residential. So this is in keeping with the future land use map as well. So that concludes staff's report.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. Any questions of the commissioners?
And what is the road? Is that Hallmark?
Yes, sir.
Hallmark Drive.
That's on the other side. Thank you.
I'd
So
like-
this is the only thing that can be built
Under
Well,
NC
these-
15, yes.
for these lots, right?
Yep.
Okay.
What's the
Single
zoning
family
around
houses.
it? What kind of, what,
I believe it's unzoned in the county right now.
okay.
Or it might be R1.
So everything around it's single family homes, that, it looks like just single family homes,
That's correct.
okay.
And so it's big enough for the 2 single-family homes?
Yes.
Any other questions from commissioners? I'd like to make a comment. There was a pretty good flurry in the past week or so because of the designation of 6.1, or was it 6.1, which does not allow townhomes, but it does allow 2 single-family homes per lot. And this is a very proud neighborhood. You know, they wanted to maintain their quality of livability there, and rightly so. They were very concerned from the get-go. The great news is Mr. Dulaveris and Dulaveris Builders never intended to do anything but a single-family unit per lot. And I want to thank the neighborhood and the Dulaveris Builders for accommodating each other, and it's kind of a win-win for everybody. So with that said, I will open the public hearing portion of this. If there's anyone against this request, I would ask you to come forward and give us your name. Seeing no one, if there's anyone for this request, I would invite you to come forward and give us your name. Yes, sir. Please come forward and give us your name.
Good evening, folks. My name is Randy Seif. I'm a 38-year resident of Hallmark many there longer than that. My main point here is to thank Mr. De Oliveris for doing what's right by our neighborhood. We appreciate it, and we'll keep an eye on your homes while they're being built. In the interest of the commission's time, thank you. Appreciate y'all's help too.
Thank you, Mr. Seif. I appreciate it also. And
I'm gonna take your advice and
absolutely, anyone that's no longer involved, you're certainly welcome. But as commissioners, when we see a crowd, usually there's going to be half the people happy and the other half unhappy. So this is a very good feeling to have both sides feeling good. So thank you. All right, the next item is PC 2025.
Sorry, you didn't vote on it.
Gotta move.
Might as well. Everything was going so smoothly here.
Somebody might get unhappy about that.
Okay, I will officially close the public hearing and call for a motion. It's funny, all the commissioners said, whoa. Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve as requested. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. It passed favorably. Thank y'all very much. PC 2025-24, Ms. Elaine.
All right. This is a request to annex and zone activity center, 2 parcels located at 2037 and 2111 South Irby Street, identified as county tax map number 00150010007 and 061. The request was initially advertised as commercial general, but it was changed by the applicant to activity center. The main reasons being that the lots are fairly small, and activity center allows for, it's also commercial, a general commercial kind of designation, but it does allow for smaller setbacks, which are more appropriate. The commercial general requires pretty large setbacks. So this accommodated future development much more easily without needing variances or anything. So these parcels are across from the Walmart on South Irby Street. The one on the south side is the current location of the Salvation Army store. Everything around it zoned commercial general, but because of the size of the lots, being activity center is not, and the type of, it's still a commercial designation. It really doesn't fall under a spot zoning situation. And the future land use calls for being commercial as well. So these are the site photos. Like I said, the lot on the left, as you're looking at them, is the current Salvation Army store, and then the other lot is vacant. And I believe the intent is to combine them and then develop them commercially. So that concludes staff's report.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. I don't think I've ever had to do this, but the chair and co-chair or vice chair have got to recuse themselves. We're both on the board of the Salvation Army Advisory Board. I represent the Salvation Army as a commercial real estate broker, and Mr. Howard represents Scrubby Car Washes, which is going on this site. So I've asked Dr. Lohan to act as chair on this issue, and so I'll cut my mic off and turn it over to him.
All right. Okay, is that in staff report? Anything
That's
else?
in.
Any questions from the commissioners? All right, I'm good. Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone who is opposed to this, please come to the podium, state your name and your claim. Seeing none, I'll do the same thing. Anybody who's for this is allowed to come to the podium, state their name. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and call for a motion.
That's a question.
Yes, sir.
In other words, you're gonna tear down Salvation Army and build this snapping car, your car wash there. That's what it's
I would like the captain of the Salvation Army and his wife, yes, if you'll please. I'm sorry.
That's
You
okay.
didn't
No,
know that.
I didn't. I'll open the public hearing back up for this to answer this question. How about that?
I'm so sorry. Good evening. I'm Captain Scott with the Salvation Army. I apologize. I'm dressed like this. It was a work day.
I'm
So
still in scrub, sir, so it's okay.
Our intent is to tear down our current store and rebuild that store further set back off of South Irby. So it's not going away the additional properties are going to be developed, and Scrubby's is coming in there, but our store will remain there. It'll just be a newer building.
You excited about that?
We are so excited.
Very good. I'm
This,
excited as well.
we are just excited to give up an 80-plus-year-old roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. That's good news.
Yes.
Any other questions for Commissioner?
Thank y'all
All right.
so much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, close the public hearing again, and I'll call for a motion. All right, have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman, back to you.
Thank you, Captain and Major Scott. I have to tell you that they are on the way to another location, and we're going to miss them greatly. They've been great leadership for the Salvation Army here in the Florence area. All right, I sound like I'm running for office tonight. Okay, PC 2025-25.
All right, we are having technical difficulties.
So we need the technical difficulty screen. We're working on updates and we're 30% complete.
Not a good time to update.
I know, we've
So
instituted new updates.
I will go by the packet. So the next one is, where are we? Sorry. Okay, this is 25. The request to annex and the request to zone RG2 pending annexation, a lot located on Pelican Drive, and it's county tax map number 0052201-026. And this parcel is on Pelican Drive, and it's immediately adjacent to properties that are in the city limits. And the RG2 zoning district is what the adjacent properties are zoned, so it's in keeping with the area. And it will be, the only thing that can go there are single-family homes. And I believe that is the intent of the owner as well. So that concludes staff's report.
Any questions of staff? We normally can see the maps up there, but we have them in our packet. All right, so we do have, we don't have a public hearing? Yeah, we do. I will open the public hearing portion of this. If anyone is not in favor of this request, I would ask you to come forward. Seeing no one, if there's anyone that is in favor and would like to speak on behalf of this request, I invite you to come forward. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and call for a motion.
Move we approve.
Second.
I have a motion, a second to approve is submitted. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like signs nay, and the ayes have it. All right, we're moving along. 25 minutes and we're on PC 2025-26. Ms. Elaine, you're getting overtime tonight.
This one is a request to zone NC 6.3 pending annexation, the lot located on Westfield Drive, identified as tax map number 0007201-045. And this parcel is intended for townhouses, and the zoning designation of NC 6.3 does permit townhouses. It's right behind the Lucy T. Davis School off of Westfield Drive, and that's in keeping with the future land use map as well, which calls for suburban campus next to it. So having a townhouse development next to the school seems appropriate. So that concludes staff's report.
Okay. I'm getting back to the packet, Ms. Elaine, and I was wanting to take a look at the general background data. Good. You were correct. Conservation 6.3. I didn't see that. All right. Is there any? Are there any questions for staff?
Do they provide a sketch plan for the proposed 16 town?
Not yet. They'll come back with that.
They're just trying to get annexed and zoned, and then they'll prepare a sketch plan.
What's the current zoning? I'm sorry.
It is in the county, and I believe it is unzoned.
What's adjacent to
It's
this?
R1 in the county, I'm sorry.
R1?
Nope, it's unzoned. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. I apologize. It's unzoned.
Is this behind a church?
Kind of, yeah. It's across the street from the church and then immediately adjacent to Lucy T. Davis.
Is there a limitation on the number of townhouses that can be put?
Yeah, it would be determined by the acreage. All of our regular townhouse rules would apply.
Any other questions?
What will the setbacks be toward, I guess to the left of this, I'm looking at this, to the left of this, next to Hoffmeyer Road? What setbacks do you have in this area? Or general for,
Generally, there is I believe it's NC 6.1 around there. And so those setbacks are the typical, I think it's 25 in the front, 25 in the rear, and 5 on the sides. So the lots around it, and part of the reason we were okay with that is we expect the vacant lot between that and Hoffmeyer Road will probably go residential as well, small lots, we would think.
where's the vacant lot? Which,
The one immediately between it and Hoffmeyer Road.
got a pond there?
Yeah. The parcel immediately north of it. Or just that whole area adjacent to it is all vacant land. We would expect that would go residential at some point, considering Magnolia Farms across the street.
Any other questions? All right, I will open the public hearing. If there's anyone against this request, I see none. If there's anyone that would speak on behalf of this request, you're welcome to come forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm Louis Hopkins. I'm developing this property. I've owned it for probably 3 years now. It's currently unzoned. It's contiguous to the school on one side, a large vacant tract on one side, and then there is some residential close to Hoffmeyer, but those are really big tracts of land. Those homes are probably at least a couple 100 feet from my property line. We're planning on doing 16 townhomes here. That's our goal. We could probably do 24 or so apartments if we left it as a zone now. But we would like to get it zoned in the city and get the services that they provide. As far as setbacks, it's a lot of land for the units that we're putting on it. So we're going to exceed all the setbacks that are required now by a lot.
Any other questions of Mr. Hopkins?
So, would you consider going as close to the school property as possible? I mean, stay away from the residential?
I think we are going to do that, but we have to have parking in front. But I would say we're probably 30 or 40 feet from the residential line. And that property is acreage. Like the people who live there might be on 2 or 3 acres. And their house is at least a couple 100 feet. The back of their house is a couple 100 feet from that line. So we're not, I mean, when we put the buffers that the city requires for this zoning, they're really, it's going to be a long ways apart, especially compared to the current zoning around it that the city's put in place.
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Hopkins.
Thank you.
All right, I'll close the public hearing. Call for a motion.
Move we approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye, and I have none, so it passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Hopkins. All right, these last two agenda items, PC 2025-27. Ms. Lane, you gonna be able to do that free-handed, or? Oh, you got it back.
Jerry got it, pulled it up for me. We're done with annexations. This is a request to amend various sections of the Unified Development Ordinance to permit detached accessory dwelling units. This is something that we've been working on for a while, and I received a letter today, and you do have a copy of it from a gentleman who wanted to make sure you all knew that he was very in favor of this amendment. Currently, accessory dwelling units are only permitted if they are integrated into a house. So if you have like an attached garage that's been converted to an apartment, something of that nature. And it's also only allowed in the larger zoning districts, residential zoning districts, NC 15 and NC 10. The smaller districts on 6,000 or less square feet lots, not allowed at all. So the restrictions with it being only an integrated accessory dwelling unit falls in. We've got a lot of parcels in places like Maple Park, Timrod Park, where you've got these old houses that have garages or carriage houses or mother-in-law suites, separate buildings, and people have one or really small houses that are in the backyard that people want to rent them out, and we can't let them. And at the same time, we have a crisis of affordable housing. And personally, it's been driving me nuts seeing all this existing housing stock going to waste. And people are discouraged from fixing it up, so it turns into an eyesore. So I researched a bunch of other cities and came up with kind of a compilation of what they all do. This would be a conditional use permit, so you would have to come to get a zoning permit before you could do it. You would have to meet these 21 conditions, and they are things like you can only have one per lot, the maximum size, it has to complement the main house, you can't have separate utilities, it has to have the same address, can't be subdivided off, things like that, to make it as much and part of the existing principal structure as possible, and yet still be able to use the existing stock. And then there's stuff in there about building brand new ones on parcels. And that's the part especially that I would love to get y'all's input in, the public's input in towards. You know, do we want to allow somebody who's building a brand new house to build an ADU at the same time? So I would like to have everyone take a close look at that and think about it. You know, if somebody next to you that lived next to you wanted to build one, would you be satisfied with these conditions? And then once people got the conditional use permit, that they would need that to get a building permit. They would also have to get a business license if they're going to rent it out, and a rental permit, and they have to live in either the ADU or the main house. So we want, the one thing that I've found and that other cities have found that really helps to control these things is that the owner lives at the same place as their ADU, so they can keep an eye on who they're renting to and things like that. So, but like I said, there's a lot of conditions there, and I would like people to be able to have the time to really think it through, because this would be a major change. So that concludes staff's report.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. You know, this is kind of exciting. It is, I know we got into outbuildings about 2 years ago, limiting the number of separated outbuildings to 2 or something like that. But I think this involves more public good than it does just the utilization of a lot, you know, and I do think that it would be good for us, the commissioners, to spend some time on this and, you know, think about it and see where we go with that.
Mr. Chairman? So the owner of the property would have to live in the main unit or whichever?
In one of the units.
No exception?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And I would also worry about impervious. You know, when you get a building permit, of course, if we were talking about additional people living there, you're talking about cement and paving and stuff like that. How does this affect the impervious? Because we just made someone take up some concrete.
They would still have to meet the minimum requirements
Okay.
as set forth in the code.
Got
So,
it.
I mean, if they didn't have enough space, they just don't have enough space.
I'm
to
talking
do
about
it.
parking, as far as parking also too.
It only requires one improved parking space.
One, okay. Is there a proportion of how big we're gonna allow the ADU compared to the size of the house? I mean, all that's,
Yes, yeah, the maximum detached size limited to 50% of the footprint of the principal structure or 800 square feet, whichever is less.
whichever is less, okay.
Yeah, so the maximum you would have is an 800
All
square
right,
foot.
okay. All right, that's,
Question. So they build, like you say, everything got to go through the main house. So if they add on, you say I want to stay there with my mom, she would have to come through the front door. I got to put in a side door.
No, with this, you can have a separate entrance.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Okay. Okay.
A lot of questions.
And how does that compare to the tiny houses that you're familiar with?
You could, if you
that-
make a slab-built tiny house, that's exactly what this would accommodate.
Okay.
Okay.
And it just recommends that you make it complementary to the main house, so that you don't have two completely different looking buildings there, you know, match the colors and the main.
Okay.
So we're not only considering existing properties, but new
And,
properties.
correct, and this would,
Which is-
basically, this would not require somebody that has an existing building to tear it down to meet the limits. This is, the size limits, the setbacks, that would all apply to new construction. But this way, we could enable people to use existing stock.
Well, there is a housing crisis, so I think this is I commend you for the work that you've done.
I agree.
Can I say
Yes,
something real quick?
Mr. Dudley.
Elaine's done a tremendous job of putting all this together, and she's also compiled, as part of your staff report, kind of a list of questions and concerns that make you think about both sides of this issue, because, you know, I mean, property owners or adjacent property owners could be negatively impacted, as well as the positive impacts on the community or property owners. So, you know, we've been looking at it for a long time, but I know you guys are taking a first blush at this. So I would recommend that you take a little bit of time, look it over, and study this, and maybe not take action on it now, but maybe at a future meeting.
Well, I was gonna make that suggestion, that this is a mouthful of an agenda, and there's no way we're gonna be able to give it its due while we're sitting here.
So
I think we all
I'll call
should.
for a motion.
Yeah, so I would move, we defer this to next month. Let's all have a chance to digest all of this a little more closely and then come prepared to take action.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Ms.
Second.
McKee?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I think this will be an easy one. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. It will be deferred until next month, and I do ask the commissioners to at least go over the questionnaire and maybe come up with some thoughts. And I have some really good news. PC 2025-28 is asked to defer till next month,
That's correct.
and I need a motion to defer.
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
second.
I have a motion and a second to defer. I know this is going to be close. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Commissioners, I am so proud of y'all and us.
Okay, Drew.
40 minutes, and we probably had the largest agenda we've seen in 2 years.
Might be some chicken left on the plate.
Staff, thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
And commissioners, we'll see you next month. I hope.
Everybody enjoy your 4th of July.
Thank you, Mr. Moses.